Drive ignition.
This is Actar's Reviews, from anime to figures and beyond. Welcome to another episode of Actar's Figure Reviews. Now, since I'm on a roll with these Digimon reviews, how's about a couple more? In this episode, we'll be taking a look at the Japanese version of the Digivolving Growlmon to WarGrowlmon, or Growlmon in Japanese, figure. As with all the Digimon figures from Season 3, Bandai of America decided to create their own versions of the Digivolving toys for the US market instead of importing and repackaging the Japanese versions like they did with the Season 1 toys. Now, this would have all been fine and good, save for the fact that most of the US originals were simply horrendous. Most, as I have to admit that some of them weren't that bad. I also have to give them credit for making figures that weren't in the Japanese Digivolving toy line, such as Ranamon to Sakyamon and Terriermon to Gargomon. Now sadly, the US Digivolving Growlmon to WarGrowlmon was not one of the good ones. I never did review the US Digivolving Growlmon figure, but suffice to say that the transformation was really simplistic but at the same time finicky. The articulation was nearly non-existent and it had a really lacking paint job. Of course, the Japanese version is a completely different mold. How does it fare in all the above categories? Let's find out. So, getting into the review, let's first take a look at the packaging. We see that it keeps in tradition with all the other Japanese Digivolving figures, with the portrait of the character in the bottom right hand corner, the name at the bottom, and the series logo in the top right hand corner, Digimon Tamers. You can see the figure pretty clearly through the window display. On the side, we have a half portrait of Growlmon or WarGrowlmon, and all of the weapons and technologies that it possesses, with some stats over here. And at the back of the box, we see that we have the transformation process from Growlmon to WarGrowlmon and Takato over here in the bottom right hand corner. We also have more details about the two characters, and we have an advertisement for the Digivolving Rapidmon figure, which is also different from the US version, which I might review one of these days. And at the other side, same thing with the half portrait of Growlmon with all of its weapons and the technologies that it possesses, with also more stats on Growlmon. So that's pretty much it for the packaging, so let's open this up and take a look at the contents inside. Here's the figure in Growlmon mode. I know it comes packaged in WarGrowlmon mode, but we'll be starting off with this one because I want to insert the Digivolving clip before the transformation sequence. Now, I really do like this mode. It's also nice as to how the figure is able to convey the menacing nature of Growlmon that was completely absent from the US version. It does resemble its on-screen counterpart far better. The only inaccuracies would be the oversized arm blades, but that's kind of unavoidable due to transformation. Kibble in this mode is limited to WarGrowlmon's ears poking out from Growlmon's hair. Now, the first thing you notice is how much better the details are on the figure. For instance, check out all the gold digicode letters on the rings all around the figure. Unfortunately, however, there are still missing paint applications. Most obviously, the two black markings on his chest, which are molded in, are unfortunately left unpainted. The tips of Growlmon's claws should be painted black as well to match the claws on his feet. But in this case, I believe it was left unpainted due to the fact that WarGrowlmon's claws don't have black tips. Moving on to articulation, Growlmon doesn't really have any head articulation due to the transformation. The arms can move forwards, backwards, in and out. The arms can move side to sides and forwards and backwards. The middle claw is posable, but that's mainly due to the transformation. His legs can move forwards and backwards, slightly in and out. His knees do bend, and his feet can move forwards and backwards and rotate side to side. And of course, his knee can also rotate side to side. And if you want to count it, his tail can also bend side to side slightly, but it's actually kind of hindered due to this long piece, which will become WarGrowlmon's hairpiece. While not too spectacular in today's day and age, it's vastly superior to the US version, which consisted only of one directional swivel joint. Now, let's take a look at the transformation to WarGrowlmon. First off, let's start with the arms. We unpack the arm blade and swing it down. Unpack the shoulder pad and rotate it around and bring it all the way down. We push the claws in and tuck the shoulder pad under the arm. Keep it stored away. We take the middle claw, bring it down and rotate it 180 degrees. We take the arm blade and simply unpack these two side panels and wrap them around the arm, and these pegs will actually peg onto the holes of the arms. Lock them into place and actually pull the arm out from the shoulder. We do the same to the other arm. We extend the legs down, extend the knee very slightly. We unpack what will be WarGrowlmon's hairpiece from his back. We take his chest and open it out. We open his back panel to reveal his armor pieces. We take his armor pieces, swing them out on this bar and rotate them all the way to the back to get them out of the way. Take Growlmon's head, swing that down to reveal WarGrowlmon's head. Push his hairpiece inside and tuck that away into his body. Rotate this chest piece and close up the chest piece and the back piece. Push WarGrowlmon's head down and extend his twin spikes. Extend these two boosters / shoulder pylons from WarGrowlmon's armor. Swing the armor over his shoulders and peg them into place. Now the first thing that needs to be pointed out, die-cast metal. Yes, there are die-cast metal parts incorporated into the figure. We have die-cast metal armor parts, swing bars and hinges. Now these armor parts are made completely out of one solid piece of metal and it's really gorgeous. This is quality. When I first removed the figure from the box, I was simply blown away as die-cast metal was the last thing that I would have expected from this figure. Now sadly, WarGrowlmon isn't as accurate as Growlmon, but I have to give them credit for at least trying to change his forearms to match his on-screen counterpart by making them black and rotating his middle claw around. His hairpiece is supposed to be silver and his head is supposed to be a deeper maroon color, and not to mention the Digihazard logo on his chest is missing. But overall, it is a spectacular attempt at a pretty challenging conversion. But of course, aside from those minor gripes, it does a phenomenal job in recreating its on-screen animated counterpart, more so than the US version anyways. Articulation remains mostly the same, but due to his shoulder pads being stored under his forearms, his elbow joint is somewhat limited but not too much, and his legs are now able to swing freely outwards. In conclusion, if you're a huge fan of Tamers like I am, or a fan of Digimon in general, I say give the US version of this figure a miss and track down this guy. Fortunately, out of all the figures from the Japanese Tamers line, this one is the easiest to acquire, going for only about 1,500 to 2,500 yen on most auction sites, which I consider an extremely reasonable price for a figure of this quality. Both modes look stellar, it has a fun transformation, the build quality of the figure is solid, and it has die-cast metal parts. Need I say more? This is AFR saying, see you guys in the next episode.